up, he shows up.
All right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Drivers, start your engines!
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Drivers, start your engines!
And gentlemen, start your engine!
And welcome back to another episode of the Green White Checker Podcast. I'm Andrew, joined with Joe, Austin, and Zach's here. He's just pooping or something. But we had an exciting weekend at Kansas Speedway. I think exciting is kind of putting it lightly. This race is going to be in the record book for a very long time. If you didn't see this race or anything like that, you're going to be thrilled if you ever do. But we had a little bit of truck action, some ARCA action, not really, and some cup action that we're going to get into. We got a lot of news to hit. Joe's going to mention the F1 race. We got some kill count. We have a new survivor leader, surprisingly.
Well, don't spoil it. I know it's me. So
yeah. Austin scored 30 points this weekend. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's wild.
Every driver.
Rude.
Yep. So I guess let's just get to the cup race here. And Kyle Larson wins by 1,000th of a second.
Crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. Like,
Insane.
This is the closest finish ever in NASCAR history. I did some quick math, figured they were running about 180 miles an hour. It was 2-inch distance. It was actually like,
I mean, when you put it that way, it sounds like a pretty big fucking gap. I'm not gonna lie, 2 inches.
3 inches.
Yeah.
That's a perfect gap, I would say. Anything bigger is just too much, you know. You don't need all that crap, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
actually, the sweet spot of the finish line is actually 2 inches into the finish line, so it's actually the perfect distance between two cars. But
you're right. So, I mean, what do you guys think of the race? Let's go with Austin. No, I did Austin last week. You did it last week. No.
Wow.
So now,
okay.
Joe.
That's cool. It's cool.
Joe.
It was a really, really good race. And we know Kansas has been great with the next gen, so it's one of the races that we look forward to going into it, right? You had 5 wide for the lead in stage 1, which was insane. And obviously the finish was insane too. But yeah, I make the whole schedule Kansas next year. I mean, geez. That was an A+ A1 race.
Yep. Zach, what do you think of it?
I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? Like we talk about going to Martinsville and Phoenix and Richmond, and we're like, we're going to try to keep our expectations low. So, if it's a middle of the row race, it seems like it's a lot better. But with Kansas, it's like we go in with our expectations high, and I'm still surprised at how good it was. Like, it was so crazy. It's easily our best track with this car, I would argue. I mean, I can't think of another one where this thing races better at. And I'm a big critic of the next gen car, but at Kansas, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And maybe we got another championship race venue we could go to. I don't know. What's it like there in November?
You don't want that.
It's too cold.
Well, too snowy.
Yeah. It's honestly, even this weekend was too cold. The weather was awful. Friday was perfect. Friday was like 75, sunny. Went to the baseball game. Bye, Zach. Went to the baseball game. Perfect weather. No wind, nothing. And then standing on pit road sometime about ARCA, and all of a sudden, like, I don't know what time it was, 9:30ish. You just feel this gust of air, and it dropped 10 degrees instantly. So it went from being like you could wear a t-shirt and be, just a little chilly, to I have to have a sweatshirt and like 15-mile-an-hour wind. It was cold as fuck. So all week, the rest of the weekend was just awful. Honestly, it was it was rough, but great racing all around. I mean, the truck race was pretty good. Yeah, but yeah, way too cold in late November. Just take it back to Homestead.
Yeah,
It's not that hard.
I agree.
Yeah.
Boom, done.
But still, Kansas, phenomenal. I
Yeah.
can't believe how good it just continues to be. Like you expect it to eventually like taper off. Like maybe this time it won't be that good. But geez, Louise.
5 races in at Kansas, and all 5 have been awesome.
I think it set a record on the Gluck poll.
It has number 1.
It did it. What did it end up being?
I'm
It was
pretty
96.2 last I saw.
I think it was like 95.8.
I think the
I think
winner
that was the record before, wasn't it? But
I don't know. I saw him tweet new record or something like that.
I want to know what that 4-ish%, why they voted no.
It was okay. New poll record.
poll
Kansas
record,
got 95.8, making it beating the ultra close finish with 2021 Bristol 95.7.
Okay.
So there you go.
I've deduced the no votes to either you just hate Kyle Larson / Hedrick Motorsports. You just hate the next gen car in general. You're
You hate
just
NASCAR?
angry at NASCAR in general. What was my other thing? I can't remember. And you just have fat sausage fingers like I do and accidentally hit no, because I've done that before. So
Yeah. I will say there was one guy that it was right off the bat. I think he actually said yes, that he voted yes, but he's like, but I could definitely vote no because there's too many stage cautions and there's not enough tire wear, and just like goes into it. Oh, the aero blocking is really bad. It's like there wasn't aero blocking this race. The tire wear was actually okay for this race, and it's just like the stage cautions really had no effect on this race. It was great racing stage 1, great racing stage 2, and amazing racing stage 3. So his reasons for possibly voting no were thrown the fuck out. I just, it's people that don't watch the racing. That's what I figured it is. And maybe sausage fingers like Zach. But Austin, what's your take?
I mean, I thought this was kind of like Atlanta, where I always say good finish doesn't make a good race, but luckily the rest of the race was also really good. So incredible, great race all around. Obviously, incredible finish. I wish it would have been Buescher, and I thought it was. And I was even talking shit to Brian after they showed the unofficial results of Buescher winning. But regardless, what else can you say? Fantastic race. I did see someone say controversial take. Let's move the championship race here. I don't know how controversial that is because it keeps putting on a show in this car. So another example too of a track that I feel like was turned around by the Gen 7. I feel like this track was never anything to look forward to with Gen 6. Like it was pretty much single lane along the top. If I remember correctly, like first few laps, they'd fan out along all the lanes, but then, 5 laps into the run, that'd be a single file train the whole time. But I feel like they could actually run a bunch of different lanes effectively and everything. So it seemed, it's definitely a track that the Gen 7 has redeemed in a way,
Yeah, it's kind of all 1.5 miles though, right? They all struggled with that last car, and then we get this car and they excel.
With the 550 last car. Let's be specific.
Yeah,
that was terrible everywhere.
Yeah, but
it's
this new car's better.
We were
1.5 miles.
Everybody was saying no more mile and a half. We don't want mile and a half. And NASCAR finally listened. And now we get a car that's shit everywhere except mile and a half.
Yeah.
So now everybody wants more.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say that's kind of the flip side of this coin of how good this race was just how I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but how horrible everything else is. Like, golly, it's like now the only races I really look forward to are super speedways. I feel like have been good in this car too. Like, my opinion is
they could be better.
It could be better. I know it's a controversial opinion, but I've really enjoyed the Gen 7 on super speedways, even compared to the Gen 6 a lot of the times, which I know may be a hot-ish take, but I don't know. I think it's sad whenever those are the only races you're looking forward to, especially when we fought so long to get more short tracks at it or whatever. But, hopefully they'll keep working on that. But not to take away from how great this race was, though.
Well, the one thing I sort of thought of, it's not something I thought of, but, it's just sort of something that sort of clicked was I saw Bozzy tweeting about how the transaxle of this car is. I'm going off on a little tangent here, but the transaxle of this car is basically built to withstand another 200 horsepower from an EV hybrid, right? And we know that that's going to be a direction NASCAR goes to. So it's kind of what makes me wonder, like, NASCAR obviously built this car with hybrid in mind. So are we looking and judging a car that's not fully developed yet, that hasn't been fully realized yet, right? Like, they built the car to be a hybrid car, but the hybrid power plant just doesn't exist yet.
Right.
What if the end goal was, like I suggested before, the end goal is the 900 horsepower hybrid. We just haven't gotten there. So it'll be very interesting to see. I saw that, like, by 2026 we're supposed to be going to hybrids or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see what NASCAR does with it. Now, do they do something stupid and like cut 200 horsepower out of the internal combustion engine and give us a 200 horsepower hybrid? I don't know. We'll see. But maybe something to look forward to when that hybrid does come around.
Yeah. I mean, you called it early last season, that we were going to get a hybrid power plant, but
I think
what I was going to say before,
officially on record though, yes.
yeah. What I was going to say before is I think this race and all the other mile and a halves pretty much have made me think that 100% we need different packages for different tracks. The mile and a halves, this is what we need. Leave the car alone. Then let's change the, short tracks to higher horsepower, skinnier tires. And then super speedways, let's reduce the drag, but that's what we need. We can't take this car to every single track, be the same thing on a super speedway as it is Martinsville, and expect it to be a good race everywhere, right?
No, it's not going to work.
So we just
Even
know we're
IndyCar.
some mile and a halves. Yeah.
IndyCar has different packages for different tracks.
Right.
They have their oval package and their road course package. Like, you're just gonna have to, right? Like, the tracks are just so different. You can't have, like, I know they want their one piece for every track, but it's just not gonna work.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the race. Stage 1. Awesome racing between Larson and Chastain. And then after that kind of went away, it was Hamlin and Chastain and Larson. And then you had Buescher kind of coming up at the end. Awesome. Like, I was standing in turn 1 right on the inside wall by pit road. And there was one time where Chastain did a slide job right in front of Larson. I just went, ooh! Did like
I was waiting
that.
for them to wreck each other.
Woo! I know, I couldn't believe it, but man, they were racing so hard, and I mean, clean, surprisingly. With Chastain, I didn't expect it, but
With Larson,
man, it was good racing.
Yeah.
How many times we heard about Larson clearing himself and just chopping somebody's nose? Well, if there's somebody you don't want to do that to, I'd imagine it's Chastain. So,
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Don't give a shit.
Speaking of clean racing, what are your thoughts about Larson's door slamming Buescher coming to the line?
Andrew,
I have
what
my
do you need
thoughts
to
on
do
it.
to
I want
win?
to hear yours.
Someone
It's-
posted the clip of Harvick and Edwards in Phoenix, and they literally did the same thing, even worse. Going for the win. I'd do it too.
Joe, you wouldn't be going.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, Joe, you have to be going for the win to be doing
Okay.
it. So.
Okay.
Real
I'm going to
hypothetical.
door the hell out of you for 24th. Get ready for it.
Yeah, brother. We're wrecking for 90th. I'm taking you with me.
Andrew, did you go? I forget.
I said he did what he needed to do to win. I mean, I don't think it's clean, but he got the trophy.
Yeah, it's definitely not clean. I think that's probably a fair assessment. It's not clean. It's definitely dirty. Is it acceptable is a different question. I'd say sure. My biggest problem with it is Larson fans are typically the first ones to jump down anyone's throat for, running Larson rough. I mean, how many people were calling for Hamlin's head after Pocono last year when Danny just ran him up the track? Like, they didn't even touch. Danny just took his line and pushed him up the track. And everybody's like, "Oh, Hamlin's so dirty," but then Larson does it. "Oh, he's the greatest driver in the world."
Yeah.
It's stock car racing, right? That's always been my argument is we're about, throwing elbows and stuff like that. So I don't mind it. I more or less get annoyed at like the fan hypocrisy when it comes to it. It seems like the fan reaction is more who does it, not the move itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that not clean, but I guess fair or acceptable is a good good answer to that because I have, like I said, I was talking shit to Brian after he won. I was like, wow, can't win a race without trying to wreck the guy he's racing against. Like, what a talent he is. But end of the day, I mean, like Zach said, that's NASCAR. You know what I mean? And that's why we love the sport is the trading paint, the door banging, and everything. So I've got no problem with it. The only thing I wish is that Buescher would have ran him a little bit tighter up into the wall off of 4 to kind of, to repay before it happened, I guess, but still like kind of, match his energy there. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As much as I want to, crap on Larson, I thought it was that's why we love the sport. And that's why we're not Formula One. Can you imagine?
Penalties?
Oh my gosh! If someone was like wheel banging, you would. Straight. They'd arrest you.
Straight to jail.
Yeah, they'd arrest you on the podium. Yeah, so that that's why we love it. So I've got no problem with it.
That's like fair.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple weeks ago we were sitting here saying that Kyle Sieg should have put Sam Mayer in the wall to get his win.
Right.
I mean, if Buescher did it to Larson, we would have been sitting here saying, yeah, he did what he needed to do to win. Yeah. And for that team, that probably should have been something he did was race him a little bit harder. I think we have to give it to Buescher for racing Kyle Larson so clean. He pinched him in 3 and 4. He didn't put him in the wall. He gave him space. And the amount of people, Larson fans, saying that Buescher doored Larson out of turn 4 need to get their eyes checked. But, I mean, again, Larson did what he needed to do to win. It's kind of a common thing with Larson, but I can't blame him.
I think the second hit was borderline for me. The second hit for Larson, like if Buescher loses it there, I don't like it. The second hit, he like came down the hill and like it was more than just like a dooring. Like it was like you went after him, and I don't know how I feel about that one. That one's borderline, but it's whatever. Nobody wrecked, and it was fine.
It's almost what happened when Bubba went down and hit Larson.
It didn't look that different, did it? Like,
no.
It's just, I don't know, man. I try to be at least consistent with how I view stuff, and I don't know. I didn't like that movement, that last movement he made when he went to hit him the second time. But
he doesn't make that move, he doesn't win. It slowed Buescher up a lot. So
yeah, because he almost friggin' wrecked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got sideways and everything. Somebody tried to tell me on Twitter that it slowed Larson down more. I was like,
"Oh,
you're
okay,
an idiot."
sure."
Yeah, no.
I think Larson's lucky he didn't actually clean him out and send Buescher in the infield, because I think then it's a lot different look. If he
for
did.
Sure. Yeah,
but
I mean, it's one thing door banging a guy; it's another thing turning a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Turning someone for the win is what we always give people shit for. Like you actually wrecked him for the win. Like I forget the most recent person giving grief for that, but. I think that
Denny Hamlin, Martinsville 2017.
Yeah, right.
Joe's ready to go with it.
Yeah, Joe's thinking it. No, but definitely, if you're not side by side, it's a different story. If you're on a quarter panel or something, but yeah, I liked it. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. So I guess we should have actually started off with the race was rain delayed. Yeah, we forgot about that. 3 hour rain delay.
Another reason why people voted no. People do that. Yeah. Like NASCAR controls the weather. They'll vote
no.
Yeah.
Dude, all I got to say is, obviously I was at the race the whole time. Like, it wasn't supposed to rain Sunday at all. Saturday was supposed to rain, didn't rain. Sunday was supposed to be like decent, partly sunny. Fucking rains, of course. So I'm sitting there, I'm like looking at my watch. I'm like, it's a 6 hour drive home. What time I got to leave? All this. And like, trying to talk to the girlfriend, see what we're going to do. And I was like, okay, we're going to stay for stage 1. We'll probably take off. And it's just like, fuck, man, this is a really good race. I don't want to leave. But we had to, right? And sitting there listening to this race on MRN, and I felt like Shane Gillis in that one skit where he's on the airplane. I just wanted to call up Mother Nature and go like, Mother Nature, you fucking suck at your job. I'm going to come down here and kick your ass. It's just... Oh man, I was like so mad. And like even she was sitting there, it was like the whole weekend, there was no wrecks. Like, so the ARCA race, one guy lost it twice and didn't even do a full 360. It was like 90-degree spin, gets going. That's it. That's the ARCA race. Truck race. You had Ty Majeski, lap 1, his brakes, left front brake rotor caliper was locked. So he bounced off the wall, but nothing major. That was it for the truck race. There was no wrecks. Cup race, stage 1, no wrecks. Stage 2, no wrecks. Like, one of my things, again, I'm media. I wanted to get a media or a infield care center interview. Haven't done it before. Like, I was so excited. I was like, yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, fuck. But yeah, no, it was stage 3, though, was a different animal.
That ARCA
all in
race
itself.
was terrible. Speaking of ARCA, jeez Louise,
Yeah,
it was so bad.
it was. And we'll get into that in a bit. But
I just heard you talking about ARCA there when you're going on it.
yeah,
Jeez, that was so bad.
yeah. We ended up just sitting in the media center for that race because
There's a lot of things I would have done right.
All right, but yeah, so great racing, stage 1, stage 2, no accidents. We had some green flag pit stops, some jockeying around, some hit strategy. Chris Buescher seemed like he was going to be fast car. He gets crew over the wall penalty. He goes to the back, right? Oh, he's out of it. Well, stage 3 happens and completely different animal. Start off, Corey LaJoy gets in the back of Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy checked up a little bit for something that might have been happening in front of him. What was that? 3-car accident, kind of big. Jimmy hit hard, but
Yeah.
And
They
then
had some great angles of that replay too.
Oh, phenomenal.
Oh, well, we didn't see it.
Excellent.
So
Yeah, they did.
That was my other thing. When I was listening why somebody would vote no, because the broadcast is fucking ass.
Oh,
Yep. Very not good.
Did they ever show an actual like out of car replay of that wreck apart from the one where they pan over to it as Jimmy's hitting the
No.
wall?
From like a million yards away, yeah.
So like, I mean, I get it.
see
You can't
that
have Gibbs can't have a camera on every car in the field, but you got to have
They used to.
enough,
Yeah.
right? You got to have enough to at least like have the field covered. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not hard to have every part of the track covered with one camera.
right.
Like one on
That's
turn
what's-
1, one on turn 2.
Like it's one
And
thing at like LA Coliseum because I know they had issues there of like camera placement. Like it was very limited on where you can actually put cameras, whatever. But like, I mean, I think Wilkesboro kind of had. I don't know. Maybe Wilkesboro. I don't. I think it was just LA Coliseum. I remember hearing they had just camera placement issues. But like for track we go to every year, there should be no issues having all full coverage there and having everything laid out. It's just
No, I mean,
poor.
it's amazing watching old races and like you'll see a wreck for 37th and they got like 4 cameras on it. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they just had like, more people or more cameras or if they were just more aware and had better direction, but it's amazing.
Well, camera 9's
bad.
busy looking for girls in the stands.
Apparently.
Trying to figure that one out.
True.
No, I will say, so again, being at the track, watching the racing, we have the 2 giant monitors showing the race behind us. I kind of feel sorry for the fans at home because, granted, there was a great race for the lead. There was some awesome 3 and 4 wide racing mid-pack that you guys did not see. And it's just like, damn. And I saw a clip of, I think it was DBC, saying, oh, yeah, Brad was going 3 and 4 wide all the time. He was, man. He was moving, and he would just do some awesome stuff. And you'd look up and look at the monitor, and there's, close up of Chastain.
They're probably
That's
doing
right.
another full screen graphic of Crank It Up. God, that pissed me off.
You gotta get their kid shots in,
Got to have the clip of the Kevin Harvick podcast.
That
Bro.
just drives
Yeah.
me nuts.
They did it better this
5
time. They did
minutes.
it like under like some kind of caution. They showed the clip. and I was
Hey,
like, thank
they're
goodness.
learning.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm still not
speak-
watching it, but
Speaking of
Yeah.
caution, I know we want to get back to the race, but Fox doing multiple side-by-side commercials during caution.
yeah, dude, what is
what
that?
in the hell are they thinking?
Full screen, caution. Full screen.
Exactly.
Not hard.
Because surely there's
How?
that. Here's the thing. There's two theories in my head of how side-by-side commercials work. Is either they have an allocated amount that they're allowed to do per race,
Right.
have to pick when to do them, or they say, hey, at this lap we have predetermined with our sponsors running this ad break or whatever, paid for this specific slot, this specific time, this specific break has to be side by side. Which, if that's the case, sure, like you have to run it. You've already made the deals. People have signed the contract saying that side by side at between lap,
I think
being 180 or like somewhere in that time frame or whatever. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know, but it's always been my thought more so that it's, hey, we get 10 side by side commercials throughout our race, so we got to use these wisely, kind of thing.
pretty sure Mike Joy confirmed that a couple years ago on Twitter, because that's when it first blew up. Everyone was, I think he confirmed that. I find it hard to believe that the second part, like, I'd be like, hey, if you have five side by sides, do it during green.
Right.
Who like, come on.
Yeah.
A child knows how to do that.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I would still love to see like some sort of like research or study. Like what is like the fan or the viewer, attention to like a full screen commercial versus a side by side. I'm convinced that a side by side would get more of my attention than a full screen. Because the second a full screen comes on, guess what I'm doing?
Phone, bathroom,
checking out Twitter. Like I'm not paying attention at all.
I'm not at my TV anymore. Yeah.
So I'm convinced the side by side gets more eyes on it than a full screen commercial.
Yeah.
Until I see a study saying otherwise.
Well, do one and we'll post it. But
so
we
make up our own facts here.
Yeah. There's 75% more viewership in side by sides than other ones.
Yep, 100%.
Proven fact.
100%, 75%.
So we have the LaJoy wreck. We go green, less than 3 laps, another wreck. Then we go green, less than 3 laps, another wreck.
I was getting tired.
And one more time. It was just bam, 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 bam. Got them all
wild.
In. Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
I was saying a wild affixed appeared in the third stage.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But after that, got some more good racing. And it came down to a fuel mileage race, kind of, right? So, I mean, it started off again with Chastain and Larson, and soon it became a Buescher-Hamlin race, and we thought it was just going to be that at the end, and all of a sudden here comes Martin Truex just charging from the rear, and we were wondering if Denny Hamlin and, well, I guess it was Denny versus Truex at this point, if he had enough fuel, and if Truex is going to catch him, which it looked like Truex is going to catch him. What do you guys think? Did he have enough fuel?
Who's Hamlin's crew chief? Gabe Hart? Is that right?
Yep.
I saw somewhere he said that he estimated Denny would have run out coming out of 4 on the last lap.
Yep.
From where they were at. But he said they figured the hell with it. We got 3 wins. We're going for wins. See what happens. So he was. I think he said. I think I saw him say like he was seconds away from telling Hamlin to just go for it. Like right before that caution came out. Like he was about to just tell him to drop the hammer. And then the caution came out.
Something about this race too, it had a lot of everything. Like you know what I mean? It had good like flat out action, had good like strategy, fuel saving, like what, just had a lot of stuff going on, which made it just all the more interesting.
Yeah.
Like everything that you're like, oh, NASCAR's more than left turns. It's all of this stuff too. It's like all of that was in this race. It felt like so. I don't know. That was great.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like I will say, the stages did kind of annoy me. Is I feel like there could have been like if it would have ran a little bit longer, there was some interesting strategy things, like guys that pitted a little later that were coming back up. Like I think there could have been some cool dynamics there, but then the stages kind of that.
Like you're telling me you don't like stage cautions? That's the first time I'm hearing this. Actually,
I hate them. I know. Breaking news. But yeah, to your point, yeah, I think it did seem to have a little bit of everything, which is what makes a great race, right? Like, I mean, it's not just we don't want crashes all the time. A couple good wrecks, that's fine. Shake things up. You have some strategy play out. You have good battles, and this just sort of had it all.
Yep. But I don't know. I heard the Gabe Hart thing also, but then I also heard Denny said he was saving a little bit more than Gabe Hart knew. But you have data, right?
Close. They were going to be. He was going to be close enough to risk it for the biscuit.
Like Truex was like, I had him no matter what, and I thought we were going to have a great finish with that. But Kyle Busch self spins. We don't get to see it. We have green white checkered, and this was crazy. We have now pit stops, right? What was it? Vegetables was the pit call or something like that for Denny Hamlin, the code word, which is 2 tires apparently. And There was no tires, which surprised me. I figured at least a couple guys in the back would take no tires.
I mean,
to
they're
move
worth
up,
like
but
a second and a half. They were saying
yeah,
over a run. So I mean, and we had a long run, and if you take tires, you're just gonna get eaten up. So I guess
Yeah.
there's really no point. And you
Well-
can go everywhere. It's not like you can block somebody, right? So they'll all find a way around you. And then
yeah.
you're
So
screwed.
Truex, who was second, takes 4 tires. Hamlin takes 2. Truex restarts 10th. The green flag comes out. Larson instantly goes to the bottom, makes it 3 wide. And now we have basically a Larson and Buescher battle. And holy shit, was it a battle. Like, great racing again, all the way down to it. Truex is like flying through the field, though. What was it? Him and Elliott, I think, were 3rd and 4th at that point, coming to the checkered flag. And just
Where'd Truex restart?
10th,
And he made it to 4th.
3rd. Well, he was bad. Did he get 3rd or 4th? I don't know. He was one of them.
I think he got 4th.
He was side by side.
I think he was
Right.
4th because the shot I saw, I remember specifically seeing Larson, Buescher, and Elliott. So I'm pretty sure, unless his car was in view, I think he got 4th.
Yeah, he was next to whoever was in 3rd, like side by side. So it was close there. But I mean, we're going to see this finish for 20 something years on, everything. I don't know. If it was up, or what do you guys consider? Was the 2003 Darlington better? It was better?
Yes.
Whole race or finish or what are we talking?
Finish.
Yeah.
And
Finish,
here's
I'd
why.
say yes.
Here's
Whole
why.
race, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're just talking about the finish. And my argument would be the green-white checkered sort of creates this.
Yeah.
The what?
You know what I mean? The green-white checkered podcast.
Yeah, we created it.
It didn't. I mean, you start them with 2 laps to go. Like, they're all already close. Where the Darlington one, like, it just developed. It was natural. So I think for me, that's the deciding factor. They're both great. I'm not saying it's not. But I mean, of course they're going to be close after a green-white checkered.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole race for Kansas was better. I mean, if you go back and watch the Darlington race, it was meh. But yeah, I think the Darlington finish was better in itself because it was Craven running down Kurt Busch. And I mean, 2 laps of great racing where, but
you know who else had a
also
hell of a run on that restart, that final green-white checker? Kyle Busch. He went from 20th to 8th.
Yeah.
I found his in-car on Twitter and I reposted it. It is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, he was zooming.
And they gave Austin Dillon the Dale Earnhardt throwback for Darlington. What kind of crock of shit is that? Where is my Kyle Busch Dale Earnhardt throwback? For fuck's sake, RCR.
You get the Dale Jr. throwback, maybe.
Yeah,
I got
That'll be
nothing.
in the
They're just
fall.
running. I haven't seen any announcement. I don't think they're running one.
No, they didn't last year, right?
No. Like, what the fuck?
Yep. So I will say another thing with the Darlington race is you had this awesome announcing, right? The have you ever, no, I've never. Like, it's iconic. We know it. This last one was meh.
I mean, the Fox broadcast just sucks. That's all there is to it.
And another point I was going to make is, again, driving home, having to listen to this on the radio, very frustrating. But was listening to MRN. Awesome, right? Great. Well, we get into Iowa and the MRN station starts to fade out. So I'm like telling the girlfriend, I'm like, hey, can you find this? And we can't find it in Iowa. We're like, fuck. She's like, well, just put on a stream of the Fox broadcast. I'm like, it's not the same. She's like, well,
did you not have
I
like an
find
aux?
Huh?
Did you not have like an aux cable in the car?
Bluetooth.
We
just couldn't find
NASCAR
a
NASCAR
MRN.
app plays it.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Well, next time.
But
Now you know.
yeah, so eventually I had to break down. I put on the Fox broadcast, and it's just, well, some good racing. And it's just like long pause and nothing. And like, this is why I didn't want to listen to this. And she's like, yeah, this is bad. It's like,
Yeah.
it's unlistenable.
I mean, benefit
honestly.
of it in Fox's defense, they do have the assist of the video, so they're not having to describe everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the lack of excitement, and plus you're driving, so you obviously don't want to listen to it on top of that, where they're not describing anything that's going on. Lack of excitement, just long pauses, just sounds disinterested in the race half the time. So that's, I definitely understand that. But I have thought about that before, like muting the Fox broadcast.
I'm hearing more people do that.
Playing the
it's worth it, man.
RN.
I couldn't believe how good it was. I remember watching or listening to it all the time back in the day, and it was great, but it's still great.
Well, and like to Drake's point about how the MRN radio broadcast, like they're having to describe every single thing and that they see, so that's what sort of adds a lot more content to what they're saying. I mean, would that be so bad for a broadcast, like for a TV broadcast? If people are saying I'm muting the TV and listening to MRN, like, I don't know, maybe that's something to look into. I don't know. And I think the more exciting broadcasts, they're just saying more. Even if you're not picking it all up, like they're just loud, they're excited, they're in the moment, and it's just with Fox, you just don't get any of it.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing with the MRN or PRN is they talk about racing in the back, right? So they'll mention, that Brett Keselowski 3 wide and stuff that you're not getting to see on TV. And you hear everything, right? And if there's somebody bumping off of somebody else, you're going to hear about it. Whereas they'll mention in the broadcast and never show it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I feel like the broadcast just gets worse and worse. And at Kansas, luckily the racing made up for it, but it was still really bad. Someone's got to get fixed eventually.
You'd think, but they just signed they just paid $7 billion.
Yeah.
So the only way it's going to get fixed is if NASCAR steps in and says, "Listen, you guys are dog shit. You need to straighten your stuff up." That's really, I feel like, the only thing that can happen.
Hopefully,
they've faced how much public ridicule do they get on Twitter and stuff?
Yeah,
and they've whoever that guy is that was on DVC has come out and said, "Oh, I don't check Twitter. It's just a bunch of angry people."
Yeah,
hopefully these new, like the CW, TNT, and all that can like
that'd be cool.
Push them. Well, because I saw Tommy Joe Martins posted something about they went to meet with the CW for like Xfinity and said like they are like really I'm quoting him, a network making Xfinity racing the priority. They want to do it right, and we want to help. So it sounds like the CW is gonna actually try and give us some good Xfinity coverage. So hopefully,
you got Amazon signed Dale Jr., so that's going to be good.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers.
Big news out of today was,
Dale TNT Warner. Yeah, that was official.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So
separate contracts too.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I like that. It doesn't, force him to do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe, competition always being a good thing, Fox being clearly the worst. Because NBC, even without Dale Jr., NBC's still superior to Fox in like every way.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't believe they let Dale Jr. go, but they're still going to be the better broadcast, hands down, especially with Lee Diffie coming over. He's going to do a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
So maybe Fox being, the bottom, the bottom broadcast, maybe that'll make them switch some things around. I don't know. I don't see them changing until some of them old heads get out of there,
Yeah.
And I don't just mean Mike Joy, but nothing against Mike Joy. We all know he's a legend of the sport, blah, blah, blah. But I just think, he had a chemistry with DW and Larry Mack that he just hasn't been able to rekindle. I think his passion's gone. It just doesn't exist the same way it used to. And I think whoever's directing it or producing it, like I'm convinced at this point they don't even really have a director. They just have a dice roll that they just randomly roll to dictate what happens next. Like with the camera. Like, it's just so bad. Like in the ARCA race, they went green, and the camera like just shot off and was like looking at a fence.
Yeah, looking to the infield inside of turn 1 and 2 at the start of the race. Like nothing going on. Just awful.
It's so bad. Until they get some of those people out, I don't see it getting better at Fox.
So I'm going to close out the Cup race. Chase Elliott finishes 3rd. Another good run for him. Bowman 7th. Kyle Busch, as Zach pointed out, he causes the last wreck with 7 laps to go, finishes 8th. Noah Gragson, 9th, and McDowell 10th. Some good runs there for those guys.
Now, baby, top 10.
Actually, Busher,
Did you see
that's
him-
his
did you see
first
McDowell
top
retweet
5.
Letarte?
Yeah.
What was that?
So Letarte was doing his Dirty Modo thing, and he was talking about McDowell. Andrew, you might know this better than I do, but something like about McDowell and betting.
Average. Yeah. So there's a over under on finish position. I'm guessing it was probably like 21st and a half.
Something like that, yeah.
So, and they said it's a lock, bet the over that he's going to finish 21st and a half. And honestly, dumb. Like, first of all, no. Here's the main thing. Do not bet anything these fucking guys are betting. Like last year, they are down like 60 something units, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
This year is just as bad. Like all of them, every time. Do not bet that show. Listen to it. Fine. Bet the opposite. You'll probably win. But for God's sake, don't do it. Like
it was so funny too, because like Letarte went on like a thing, like a couple minutes. Well, not a couple minutes, but just like a 30-second like tirade or rant, like about how McDowell never finishes well at these types of tracks and blah blah blah. And then McDowell
he was
retweeted.
running great in the fall. He was top 10 in the fall, and then had
Right.
like a tire problem. So like,
Right, that's very important context that people miss when they're looking at old races. They just look at the finishing positions, like, wow.
yeah, he's looking at
finished.
just stats. Like, oh, he finished bad this last race, so he's going to finish bad. Like,
Right. Well, why did
the
he
other
finish
one?
bad? How was he before
Right.
that? You got to know that stuff.
He was running great, and like, okay, like you look at Hamlin this year. What race did he wreck out at?
Texas.
Richmond, Texas. Yeah.
Richmond, he won.
Oh yeah,
Texas,
he runs so bad to Texas. No, he doesn't. He was going to win. Right.
Right.
Same thing.
Exactly.
That's why.
You
That's
look at
why
stats
I like.
without context.
So like the only sports I really bet on are like NASCAR and like soccer mainly, because that's the ones I actually follow enough to know. Instead of just looking like who won last year, who placed well last year. So okay, well, like who did well last year, but also what's developed since that past year to to determine whether it's going to be a good bet or not. But
Yeah.
I wonder how many
crazy.
people have that Venn diagram overlap of like a NASCAR fan and soccer fan. I feel like that's kind of rare.
Probably, honestly, but yeah, I mean, it's like going to Daytona and be like, "Oh, Justin Haley's got to win here. I'm going to put all my money on him." It's like,
Right.
you don't know what happened. You got to have some context for finishes. That's
I love it when
And
guys who think they
they're
know what the fuck
they go
they're
into it
talking about
blind.
get humbled.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh. So
Yeah,
good for Mike
their other
McDowell.
one was Chris Buescher. I think his over or something like that. And they're like, oh, he's never had a top 5 at a 1.5, which is a crazy stat. But I don't remember the finish position. Don't bet that shit. Like, that's so bad, honestly. Especially when you see a guy have speed in practice and stuff, and your bet is over. No. Like, Jesus Christ, no. But yeah, don't bet that show. Don't. There's so many better people. Speaking of bets, I live bet Chris Buescher first stage. And I was so happy. I was like, my weekend was just paid off. This is awesome. And they're like, Kyle Larson. I'm like, fuck. I saw some people had it plus 7,500, which, I had it at 4 plus 4,000. So, but yeah, let's go to the truck race. Corey Heim wins. Pretty dominant truck. It was between him, Zane, and I think Eckes throughout the race. Majeski wrecked lap 1. I have a picture of whatever the part was that failed. It looks like it was his caliper probably locked up. That's kind of what it looked like on TV too, because his front tire wasn't spinning at all. So yeah, he had an early exit, finished dead last after starting second, I believe. And then after the race, Lane Riggs and Cam Waters get into it, have some words for each other. Ooh, is that Puppy?
Puppy.
Yeah, that was a truck race. Good racing, just nothing really noteworthy. Yeah, and then the ARCA race, Tanner Gray dominated. Like, this dude had a half a straightaway lead. I think he had up to 4th lapped. Was it 4th or 3rd? Something like that.
I think he had, what was it? I think it was like a couple laps from having 4th lapped, I think he was like just behind 4th when their little halfway break ended. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
But
so bad.
so we have
And that's why nothing against it's Connor's Village, right? That's who won Dover.
no. Oh yeah.
Yeah, nothing against it, that's a great win, but it's just like ARCA's such a joke. Like it's I don't know.
Yeah,
I just think it's time to kill ARCA and do like a cars tour for NASCAR. That's what I would do.
honestly, that'd be so much better. Amazing.
Like do super late models or the regular late models, whatever you want to do. Some sort of premier late model series, I think, would be the move. And you let the local guys come in and run and stuff like that. Like you almost do it like the old NASCAR, right? Like with everybody, just trying to qualify in. Local guy shows up, you bring a car, you can qualify and try to make the race, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That'd be
Well,
cool.
Tanner Gray ends up not winning though because of a late. It wasn't even a late caution, but caution the final stage or whatever they do.
Mm-hmm.
And who was it? Connor Mozak ends up taking the lead, and that's it. That's how it ended. Like, I don't know. I feel bad for Tanner a little bit, but like Zach said, it's kind of a joke of a series. One of my other things I want to mention about this race. So we were watching practice early in the morning, and I had my scanner on. How does Tony Bradinger still have a ride? This is her last year. It's got to be her last year. No. So I'm
She
listening
has
to this.
sponsorship though, doesn't she?
She doesn't. No,
she
that
doesn't?
car's blank now.
I
don't
thought
think she's
didn't
what-
she have
That's like
Victoria's
Tame's.
Secret sponsor?
I
Isn't
thought
that
She
a
had
thing?
it for one truck race. One truck
Oh,
race.
really? I thought that was like
Really?
a long term
Oh
thing.
wow.
So she was a Toyota development driver. I don't think she is anymore. I think,
Really?
yeah, I think she
Huh.
might be on her way out. Like she was supposed to have a bunch of truck races in that one. I think she only had maybe one or two races and she hasn't been back in it. But so I'm listening to my scanner and all of a sudden you just hear turn. There you go. It's like,
God.
and then like she said something and it was just like, oh my God, like this is bad. Like we all heard the audio at Daytona where they're asking her if she's lifting and she's like, no. And then you can clearly see she is. And then there's a big wreck caused by her and they say she's lifting, like the other drivers. Man, you can't just be pretty and expect to advance in the series. Like, I don't know. I think she's on her way out. If you have no
Okay.
sponsorship and you can't finish well, you're running a Venturini machine, so you should be in the top 5 cars
You should
every
be
week.
winning. Yes.
Yeah, and you can't finish top 10. Sorry, but bye. Time to move on.
Yep. See ya.
Okay. Yeah, that's it for Kansas. Anybody else have some last notes, final stuff, anything?
Kansas? No.
Nope. Just great race like we thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much else to really add.
Does it have 2 days?
Uh,
I can never remember. I
Yep.
can never really
Yeah.
check. It does have 2. All right, good.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
Next one in September, I think.
this is the first Kansas race in the next gen era that Denny Hamlin did not win.
Denny Hamlin
Wow.
or his team.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If my team wins, I won.
Yeah.
Yep.
If the car
Yeah,
I
'cause it
own
was-
wins. But
yeah.
yeah, they
Kurt, Bubba, Denny, Reddick, now Larson.
Yep.
So
this has been a not just Denny house,
and
but Toyota house for
but Denny should have won it, kinda, maybe.
he
He had a chance.
he had a shot. I can't believe he left that bottom open for Larson. I don't know why he took the bottom to begin with. I would take the top all day.
Who, Busher?
No, if I was Denny, I would have taken the top on the restart. I don't know
Oh,
why he took the
yeah.
bottom. And if you're
I
gonna
don't
take
understand.
the bottom, like you got to shoot to the bottom because that's where Larson's going.
I don't understand Busher on the last lap, like taking the low line in 1 and 2. It's like not where you really want to be. That allowed Larson to get up there, but it's Kyle Larson. He's gonna run the high line,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't block the high line. I'm sure he's kicking himself over, but come
He
on,
probably
man.
thought he had it covered wide enough for like Larson win. Like I mean, it was surprising that Larson was able to make that stick when he he ripped it around
Yeah.
the top. I'll give him that. Like that's pretty wild. But I don't know. He probably thought he could try to run away from him, and maybe if he was, a lane off the wall, he wouldn't be that much slower. And I don't know. It is what it
Yeah.
is. They all make mistakes. I mean, we're judging what the decisions they make in a split second. Whatever. It's
Yep.
a good race.
Yeah, great race. So we talked about it last week, the whole Penske IndyCar thing. They have suspended Tim Cindric.
I saw a really funny thing. It was a picture of Tim Cindric with a mustache and a beard drawn on.
Yeah.
And they said, introducing our interim president of Penske Motorsports, Tom Cinderblock.
Oh Lord.
I love
That's a
Twitter.
good one. Natalie Decker will drive the number 92 DGM car in the Xfinity
Ooh.
Series at Charlotte. I know everyone's
Yay.
excited on that one.
Can't wait.
I can't wait to see her not qualify in.
Yeah.
That'll be
Denny
exciting.
Hamlin said on his podcast that he was all for removing the rear camera on the car. Kyle Busch agrees. I don't care. Like, honestly, like, have it, don't have it.
I agree with not
the
having it.
the only thing I could say is like the small mirror on the left side. That's it.
Yeah,
Right.
I think I like what Kyle said. I think it was Kyle who said, the camera provides instant feedback for the driver. Like he can just instantly see and look at it and know what's going on. Whereas when you're just reliant on the spotter, there's like that connection that has to be made. So like there's a delay. It's not as instant. So it's more about teamwork and stuff like that. And it's not just watching the camera. So I don't know. I'm all for making it harder and just getting the camera out of there if it's a benefit.
Yeah. Toby Christie reported that Noah Gragson, Chase Briscoe, and Josh Berry have a study group where they meet and go over things and talk. Where Ryan Preece says, study group that I wasn't aware of. Yeah. The odd man out. I don't know. It's
Could be related
Gotta-
to the SHR charter thing, maybe.
What do you guys think is going on there?
let's keep going on here because I got some stuff.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We'll go over this. Actually, Joe, you want to hit your thing that I said you were going to talk about?
F1.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do Joe's talking F1 segment of the week. Lando Norris won, not Max Verstappen. So good on Lando. And then they got a lot of viewers because it was on ABC and in America. So
And the race was
NASCAR was on
rain.
delay.
Yeah.
yeah, and NASCAR was on rain delay too, so that helped. But yeah, good for Lando. Glad he got it.
How did he win? Was it like strategy or something goofy,
I
or did he
think
actually outright speed?
I know there was a safety car and that kind of screwed Max, but other than that, I'm not really sure kind of how that happened.
Some kind of like pit thing. I think Max pit and Lando hadn't. And then Lando's when the safety car came out, he snuck in the pits and saved a lot of time. And so took the lead, inherited the lead from that, and then was able to just keep it. I don't know why Max couldn't pass though, but
Max had
Just fucking drive
underbody damage.
Mm.
I saw
from
something where he went over
just hitting
some
the pylon
curbs.
and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
People are saying Max is watched now. Is that
that's what I heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
Honestly, just skill diff. Honestly,
I'm gonna bet my mortgage payment on Lando to win this next race. So
I mean, orange man visits race, orange car wins. Just saying.
Hey,
Sure.
do the math.
Yeah.
Do the math.
Apparently, he said that he's Lando's lucky charm.
prove him wrong.
Yeah.
Go to the next race.
Ah.
Donald. See what happens.
So we had some Twitter beef. I don't even know where to begin on this. Basically,
I got blocked
you got
did.
blocked.
by
Yeah,
Moody,
Moody got
if
you.
that's what you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm not
if
blocked
you
by
guys
two,
know
but I
more
know
about
hard
this,
thing to do from what I've heard, but still, congrats.
yeah, I'll let one of you guys take
I
this.
didn't
because
do
I read a
anything,
little bit
really.
of it, but
Yeah, you didn't say
I
anything.
mean, in
egregious.
short, it was just between Huffman and Mamba. Hold on a second. I got something screaming at me
Yeah.
on my computer. Joe, you take it.
I mean, yeah, basically, I think Mamba was. I don't quite remember.
I think it was
like-
Huffman basically was
I can
trying
I can
to
concentrate now.
call NASCAR out, and then I think Mamba said something. Lando said that he was bought by NASCAR because
Well,
he's
Sorry to cut you off. I think it started with something like Mamba was tweeting about something about how this car is pretty good in situations where it's not. It's typical NASCAR shill stuff. Because I mean, he in his profile literally says the official hype man of NASCAR. So he's just doing what the official hype man of NASCAR does, and sort of highlights the good parts, ignores the bad parts. And Huffman decided to chime in, and they were having a discussion about where this car was at, and Huffman was just trying to say, like, listen, I acknowledge that you are paid by NASCAR, you are a NASCAR employee, and as such, you and I are not going to share the same opinion. Mamba took exception to that. Moody jumped in, and we're just sort of going back and forth. Then Moody said some wild shit to Landon. But the whole time Landon's just ratioing these guys. I mean, listen, like I don't understand one, why it's offensive, because they're like so surprised by it, and two, how they don't know that we know how this works. Like, you guys are paid by NASCAR, you're NASCAR employees. You're going to just, like, your job is to sell the sport to fans and tell fans why this sport's good and highlight all the great stuff and not talk about the bad stuff. Like, that's what I tweeted at Moody, and that's what got me blocked. Like, that's all I really said. But I mean, that's really what the argument was about, and Mamba was really offended, and I'm not really sure why, because ultimately
I mean, if somebody,
it is what it is, right? Like, that's
somebody says you're a bot when he
never said he was.
Because he
Landon was very.
Yes, he did.
He didn't say he was bought.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't. Show me the tweet.
I mean, he literally, even Mamba.
Mamba was saying he said that.
I'm saying because he did.
He didn't. He said you're employed by NASCAR, which he is. So yes, you are going to have an opinion.
Find the tweet, because I'm pretty sure he said he was bought.
I never saw him say he was bought.
Yeah,
but he was.
Then Moody decides to jump in.
Yeah, but I mean, Landon wasn't saying anything that was untrue. He was just saying, you guys are NASCAR employees, so we're not going to agree on everything, because you have obligations to NASCAR. Like, it's the way it is, right? We all know that anybody from NASCAR is always going to be a shill and shill. I mean, you're not going to talk shit about your boss, right? you just can't.
Yep. Okay. So
yeah, that was a really fun Twitter read. If you can find them tweets,
Zach got blocked. I blocked him a while ago. So
who's the other guy? I got blocked by Pete.
Moody equivocated supporting your team to supporting bring a team through. This is the tweet he deleted. Supporting a team through like making bad calls or like, building a bad car or whatever, to like supporting a guy who like essays people like on your team. It's like, you're still gonna support that guy. It's like, huh? No, it's not what we're talking about.
What if they beat their wives? Like, I think
exactly.
Like,
it was something
Christ.
like that. Yeah.
Like, it's just such a. I can't stand Moody. Like, and I don't mind Moody. Like, and I don't mind Mamba. Like, I understand their position. I understand their purpose in the sport. I get it. It doesn't offend me. What I don't like is Moody. He always just tries to make people sound stupid. Like, that's like his whole show. I feel like it's just anybody who has an opinion that's not in line with NASCAR. He's just trying to make him sound like an idiot, and I don't care for that. But I mean, you can't, like, I always see these people like try to argue with Moody and stuff like that. Like, you're just not going to. Like, you're not going to have a genuine conversation, because they're not going to like in order, like, when you have a disagreement, you talk to people. Usually, you find some sort of middle ground. Where you're like, yeah, you're kind of right on this, but I also think that. Moody just doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just not going to get him to do that.
Man, I used to like Moody like back in the day, but God, he's bad
He doesn't
now.
want. I can't wait. I bookmarked his tweet because he had.
He's
one
like the
tweet saying
boomer now.
He is. He had something saying about how we don't need to go back to Chicago because everybody's talking about this car being so good on 1.5s. Naturally, the conversation to go back to Chicago.
How many chances do we have to give it? I think was his tweet.
Right. But I can't wait for the day where NASCAR says we're going back to Chicagoland. And he's like, oh, NASCAR, this is such a great decision. It's going to happen.
I mean, it is a good decision at this point. Give it another chance, because we're seeing great racing on the 1.5 miles, and it runs so much like Kansas. So I don't know. I think it'd be a good move for NASCAR to go back, but who knows what we're going to do?
I think we should go to Chicagoland, and we should take the Roval.
I hate to say it. I think this great race at Kansas just killed Road America ever having a chance to come back on the schedule, because I think we are now going to go to Chicagoland, and I don't think they're going to add Road America also. But
I mean, I don't think we need to be adding road courses at this point, not with this car the way it is. I mean, and this is where I was saying before, like, I think it'd be good if NASCAR was dynamic, and I think they're trying to be, and I'm sure there's a lot of pieces moving that make it very difficult. But if your product is good at 1.5 miles, then let's figure out how we can make more of those happen. And if it shifts and it goes to road courses are better, then figure out a way to make that. That's what makes Marcus, as much shit as I talk about on SMI, his Roval thing is great, because now he has the option of switching it. Depending on the car, him and NASCAR get together. Oh, the car's better on 1.5s. All right, let's run the oval twice a year. The 1.5 is getting stale. Let's switch it up and do the Roval again. Like, you got options, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah. All right. So this is where this show is about to get interesting.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to start off with JTG Doherty signs Ricky Stenhouse to a multi-year deal.
Good for him.
But there are rumors that one of the owners of that team wants out.
I don't even know who
That owner. I don't even know off the top of my head. But that owner is going to take Kroger away from that team. Kroger is the main sponsor for that team. So what happens? Like, do they continue on with the team, or I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to say what I think yet, but that's just an interesting thing that I could see happening. While this is going on, though, SHR says to prospective buyers, this is what you need to basically pay. This is what you're going to get for one of their charters, 2 of their charters. Sounds like Gene wants out of NASCAR. So half of SHR is for sale. And you guys want me to put my tinfoil hat on? Because I can.
Absolutely.
Let's hear it.
Okay, we're doing it because I actually have one.
Oh.
Okay. SHR is selling 2 charters. Stewart and Spire are going to merge. The drivers that are going to carry over are Barry and Gregson, the Chevy drivers, right? That are now on a Ford team. So the charters that are remaining are going to be bought by 2311 and FRM or RFK. The Ford driver that is safe would be Briscoe, and he's going to go to whatever team buys one of those charters. Priest is out.
Yeah,
Priest, good luck.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Good luck in the Truck Series or Xfinity Series, but you're done. My bad. I think we see the 16 car return if RFK buys it. Be kind of cool. Herbst to the 21.
Colleague has that, though. Colleague has the 16.
We'll get into this.
No, jeez, it goes deeper into the rabbit hole.
It goes deeper. Herbst goes to 21. Harrison Burton, good luck in the lower series.
Yeah.
True.
Truex retires.
Yep.
John Hunter does not get that ride. Chandler Smith moves up. Legacy stays the same. Jones stays and John Hunter stays. Trackhouse absorbs Colleague. His Colleague wants out of Cup, right?
Yeah.
So they don't get out. They just become part of Trackhouse. So there goes your 16 car. RCR moves Austin Hill up.
They would still own that
full-time.
number.
They don't have to.
I mean, I guess they could sell it or whatever. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. RCR, Austin Hill full-time, and the 31 or the 33. Remains 2 cars. Austin Dillon remains full-time. Kyle Busch out at RCR.
Really?
You're high.
No.
Kyle Busch
Mm-mm.
joins 2311 with their new charter. Denny Hamlin's been talking up Kyle Busch a lot.
Denny's
Just
always had a
saying.
lot of respect for Kyle, so that's not really
Yeah.
super crazy, to be honest. When you say 23-11, I know Denny and Kyle have always had a pretty good relationship, and I think Denny respects the shit out of Kyle.
Yeah. It will not be the 67. They will purchase the 51. So Kyle and the 51 Toyota and the Cup
There you go.
Series. I had, and I rethought this one. Carson leaves Spire, ends up at Trackhouse. Bowman to Spire. And I can't say who's going to replace Bowman because we kind of know that. Possibly.
Wink.
Yeah. So I didn't tell you guys this.
Ricky
but
Stenhouse.
So we overheard a rumor between what
People.
the fuck's that guy's name? Yeah. What's the one guy? Murphy, right?
Murphy, yeah, Murphy.
Oh, yeah. What the
Brian
hell's his first
Murphy.
name?
Brian.
Murphy and others talking about who is replacing Bowman in 2025. And it makes a lot of sense, but there was a tweet that was out also a little bit before that. Bob also posted something kind of alluding to it. I will say that driver stayed until Sunday when they didn't have to. I will say they had the truck garage shut down and Fox was set up in it. You saw that during the rain delay. So you could not see what was inside because they were going to do a big announcement, but the rain delay ended that, and that driver ended up flying out about 30 minutes into the rain delay. So I think the announcement might come next week at Darlington. If not, then definitely in Charlotte.
Why don't you just say who you think it is?
I don't want to be that guy.
You just went on a 20-minute rant of all these crazy speculations. Everybody on Twitter already knows this one.
Yeah.
I've seen
Do
this
they?
100 times. Yes, I've seen everybody thinks Roger Caruth is taking the 48.
It is. It's Raja to the 48, supposedly in
Everybody's-
2025.
I think the year is more surprising than anything else. Everybody, I think most reasonable people expect Raja to take Bowman's ride, but the surprising fact is I think Bowman's ride is what, 26 is when
26
up.
Yep, 26.
Yeah. So I think that the year would be a surprise, but the move to me,
that was the biggest one for me was being 2025. I thought 2026 for sure, but
and they have Ally through 28 for what it's worth, so they got the sponsorship.
Well, we saw the Ally sponsorship show up on Raj's truck this week. For the first time.
So there is a strong speculation. I think majority of people see this coming. Raja taking the 48.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a weak man at Hendrick, it's definitely Bowman.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, I feel bad for him because honestly, he's had some good runs. He was running really good last year before his broken back.
I'm not saying he's bad. He's consistent enough, but he's just, you got everybody else winning and now you're not. Like, that's just a problem.
Yeah. Wasn't he the points leader before he broke his back last year?
I mean, he's consistent, but being the points leader don't mean shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. The points leader when he won the championship? I don't think so.
True.
Yeah.
What does being the points leader even matter anymore, I guess?
Well, I think I posted this in main Discord earlier, but like the past 6 races, he's turned it up. He's 7th in points.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously,
you got to win. You got to get top 5s.
Yeah, I know. I'm a Hendrick guy. I mean, I just like Alex in general.
And that's the thing. You're with Hendrick. You're expected to win. I think ultimately.
That's true. But
especially with everybody else winning. Like
I saw someone say, I mean, he's a solid driver. I'm quoting this guy on Twitter, but he's a solid driver grouped with generational talents. I mean, I don't know. I'm a Bowman defender, so. But
you look at other guys though that have been linked up with Hendrick. You had Brian Vickers, who was with Hendrick.
Bowman's better than him.
I don't think Brian Vickers was that bad. I saw him have a couple good runs. I mean, he beat Jimmy Johnson at where was it? I forget where. Oh God, I think Michigan. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, Vickers was good. He beat. It's just you're at Hendrick. You are at the best team in NASCAR. You cannot argue that. So if you're at the best team, you are probably expected to perform fairly well and get wins.
Yeah.
And you got freaking Byron just racking them up left and right, and you got Kyle Larson being Kyle Larson and
Chase might
Chase
be
Elliott. Even if Chase isn't winning, he's still the sport's most popular driver, so he's got that. I mean, that was sort of the same thing with Dale Jr., right? Like Dale Jr. wasn't out there winning races left and right, but he was still the sport's most popular driver, which is its own selling point in of itself. So I don't know. Again, I'm not saying Bowman's bad. I just the organization you're at being pretty good just might not be good enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like Suarez, man. Like, besides his lucky win at Atlanta,
Well,
Where's he
I
gone?
wouldn't put Bowman with Suarez. I think Suarez sucks.
Yeah.
He's really struggling.
Bowman's
But-
definitely better, but I'm just saying, kind of the same thing where you got one
Yeah.
driver performing really well and the
Right.
other one not so much.
Yeah.
Well, is Ross performing really well? I was thinking that this weekend. Like I saw him
Ross
running
is
out front
kinda-
this week, and it's like that seemed like it was like a new thing this year.
He's
like, I
had a
just feel
couple
like-
races where he's been up front, but
Has he? Maybe
mean,
just
not
haven't been paying
overly-
attention.
yeah. Nothing like dominant, but yeah, he's been up there a couple of times. I think it was Texas. He was up there for a bit.
Hmm.
I think he had like a penalty or something, but oh, let's move on. Let's do our survivor pick. Oh, let's do kill count first. Logano's getting added. He caused that wreck on the backstretch that took Cindric out. He just moved up off the low line in a 3 or 4 wide situation, caused it.
Yeah.
Corey LaJoy, I'm going to give it to him. He punted Jimmy. Granted, might not all be his fault, but yeah. Then everything else was like a single car wreck. On to Survivor, Zach. It's you.
Survivor. So to wrap things up, Andrew won. You had Kyle Larson. That's back-to-back win picks for Andrew.
Yep.
So that's pretty impressive. You had Denny Hamlin last week and Kyle Larson this week. And then it was me with Blaney, who finished 12th, and then Drake was 3rd with Bubba, who was 17th, and then
Not last.
Joe had Ty Gibbs, who finished 32nd.
Woo.
That's
So-
surprising. He had some good. He was running pretty good for a while.
I think he had something happen. He had to pit an extra time, and then like he was never able to make it up, or something weird. I forget what it was.
Small mistakes, man. Just
It
taking
was-
them
yeah.
out.
It was
Yeah,
tough. But I was
What do
happy
you got,
to see it
Joe?
because fuck Joe.
Yeah,
I'm
I guess
trying to-
I gotta go first this time. I'm
Yep.
gonna go with a little Martin Truex Jr.
and
He runs pretty well at Darlington. So
Okay, Drake, who do you got?
Going long shot with the Ford, but does run here well too. A little slowy Slogano.
That's what I did last week, and it paid off. Luckily.
Yeah.
So Joey, okay, and then me. I'm gonna burn a Ford pick with a guy who I think's been actually running pretty good lately, Noah Gragson.
Ooh. I like it.
Nice. Yeah, 3 top 10s in a row.
He's been doing pretty dang good, so we'll go with old Noah.
I'm also going to go with the Ford. I'm going Ryan Blaney.
Backing up
Yeah,
them
right,
Fords.
Yeah. They picked it up. So I haven't uploaded the videos yet this weekend. Interviewed some drivers. Talked to Chase Briscoe. Asked him, is it just everybody still trying to figure out the Fords, or is it just the car in general? And he said they know what they got. They're struggling overall with the car. But they turned it up this week. I mean, Fords were pretty fast. I mean, obviously, Buescher got second by 1,000th. Gregson was up there. McDowell was up there. It seemed like they had speed. So, yeah, ran pretty well. Your boy, Christopher Bell, interviewed him. He went out and got the polls. So the GWC lucky charm of having an interview with us and you running or doing something good continues.
Continues,
go.
baby.
Where's that interview
Yeah.
at? I tried to find it. Where'd you put it?
I haven't put it anywhere yet. It's still on my
Oh,
phone.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. Where should I put it?
I was all hyped. I don't know. On the internet somewhere.
Yeah, I'll put them all together and put them it was just one question each. John Hunter Nemechek. Talked to him, asked him, when he was going to put everything together. He's like, oh, hopefully at Kansas. And he was running well. I don't know where he finished, but he was top 10 for a little bit. I'm like, holy shit.
I'll tell you who you
I
didn't
think-
factor in your equation into your tinfoil hat stuff. It's Corey Heim. I feel like he did pretty good when he was driving that car.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
You said John Hunter Nemechek doesn't move up. You might want to look over his shoulder.
Yeah.
Who knows what they plan on doing with Corey Heim?
I had an idea for Heim, and I don't remember what it was going to be, but yeah, he's going to get a ride. He's running okay in that car. I mean, he was running really good until him and Austin Dillon got into it at the start and finish line there, or out of turn 4 in the last lap.
I think something we're learning and something Hocevar is proving.
Truck guys do better.
Truck guys do better. Xfinity might be an unnecessary step.
Yep. So that was another thing. I think Connor Zilic. I think they're going to try to put him in an Xfinity ride, but I hope they put him in a truck ride and then just move him up. Because
seems to be the move.
I know. It just all these truck guys are coming up and they're running okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We will see. Let's see. What do we got? I got no boomer of the week. Let's just hit Darlington real quick. I'll check to see if we have an OnlyFans. But Ravenham's going to be, oh man, I should have factored this into my pick. He's going to be the Grand Marshal. It's going to be a Hendrick win. God damn it. It's going to be Bowman. Bowman's going to win.
It's going to be Bowman.
Calling it now.
That would be great. Hearing the rumors of Raja, and he's got to pop off.
It's fucking Hendrick's year, dude. It's their 40th anniversary. They're winning every big race. They're winning the championship. It's in the script.
Yep. We do have an OnlyFans. Let's save it for next week. Just because we're at an hour and 20 minutes almost. I'm excited for Darlington. Should be a good race. Always is. The throwbacks always look good.
I hate this is throwback weekend. Throwback weekend should be the Southern 500.
It shouldn't be. Yeah, I 100% agree. But it's
I feel like that line only got blurred probably I feel like it got blurred like maybe 5 years ago.
Well, we only used to have one Darlington race for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was only recent that we started having a second Darlington race.
I feel like a couple teams started doing it because they're like, I guess we'll do it this weekend. And then every other team was like, well, I guess we have to do it now.
I really hate Fox having more cool things. Like, it pisses me off.
Yeah. More things for them to ruin.
Yep, 100%. I mean, all you're going to see is the Hendrick ones. You're not going to see anybody else running them.
Well, I mean,
kind of like
they are objectively some of the better ones. So
Hendrick did win, except for the Byron 100%. One. The
Byron one, yeah, they mucked that one up.
Just wait. I think you got to wait and see what the actual wrap looks like because that's just a render.
I mean, they missed the back. I'm not talking about just the render. I saw the fade.
Yeah, the red back.
They missed the back and the splitter, right? The splitter is supposed to be that yellow or whatever.
Well, the front around the headlights too. They were bitching about the orange fade there.
So I think Byron's is the weak one in the bunch, but overall Hendrick won. Hands down.
100%.
I like Brad Case too. I'm really thinking about getting that die cast.
Oh, the Castrol.
The Castrol Super.
You can't go wrong with a Castrol paint job. I'm sorry, you can't.
No,
they all look good.
I love that one too. I played so much Gran Turismo as a kid. I love that car. So I might have to get that one.
Yeah. Well, on that note, join us again next Tuesday. We're live on YouTube. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe if you're listening on whatever the hell, Spotify, Apple, all those fun things. Twitch. Yeah. I forgot we were on Twitch. We're on Austin's. We're on the GWC Twitch. But until next week,
I'm going to play some games on that.
Oh, okay. I'm fine with that.
I might do that. I might do a NASCAR Dirt to Daytona playthrough. I was thinking about that today.
Nice.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Definitely post that up. But yeah, on that note, I'm out. See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I love you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Green White Checker Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. For more from the boys and the podcast, be sure to follow us on Twitter at the GWC Pod for the podcast, at Biggles TV for Zach, at ShakenDrake_TTV for Austin, at Picks by Fitz for Andrew, and at J_Sully10 for Joe. Head over to thegwcpod.com to submit a question for our OnlyFans segment. Thanks again for listening, and we hope to catch you again next episode.
Football season may be over, but for frequency's sake still has you covered for all your sporting needs. Tune in every Sunday when the best professional wrestling podcast around, cards subject to change, gets you caught up on everything inside the ropes. They won't miss a count with weekly analysis and interviews. More into auto racing? We've got a double dose for you on the track. Tune in to Fast Money with Rod Villagomez each week and win some money with the quickest bets in all of sports. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your basketball fix? Points in the Paint has you covered with live shows every other week looking at everything in the association. Backed by popular demand, we have the return of The Payoff Pitch, FFSQC's baseball show, covering you on news around the MLB. If you're missing football, don't fret. Mark and Dan still have you covered in the football lounge. Missing Joe Winkle? Probably not, but he's still here talking sports on Educated Ignorance. Football season might be over, but we've still got you covered. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
For Frequency's Sake is brought to you by